All right, here's a little meme I put together earlier. I asked Grok a question and he answered it. But Israel, what does Israel mean in Hebrew? It means he is a prince of El. He is a prince of God. Some people say struggles with God. The word struggle's not in there. It says he is a prince of God. I know how to read Hebrew very well, so trust me. He is a prince of El. El. Who is El? El is Kronos, aka Saturn, the father of Zeus, aka Jupiter, aka Yahweh, aka Yahweh. Okay, that's who El is. El is Saturn, right? And and how do you say Saturn in Hebrew? It's Sabbatai. That's how you say Saturn in Hebrew. Wasn't that the name of a so-called Jewish Messiah who turned into a Muslim? That's no coincidence. They worship Saturn. So that means the Hebrew Israelites, you guys worship Saturn, and the Christians who accept the Old Testament. I guess that means you guys also worship Saturn and Zeus, because El and Yahweh is not the same. El is Saturn, aka Kronos, and Yahweh is Zeus, aka Yahweh. That's Jupiter, baby. Well, I don't worship Jupiter. I worship the real God, the God of Jesus. Let's get it clear. But anyway, let's listen with it. Because I asked Grok a question, but let's read it. It says in Hebrew, Sabbath is Shabbat. Look how you spell it. Look how you spell Sabbath in Hebrew. Shabbat, meaning rest. Seven is Sheva, Shabbai. Okay, so the word Sabbath comes from the word seven, because so-called God, the fake God of the Old Testament, made up story, guys. But they said he created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and he rested on the seventh. So that became the day of rest. That is why the number seven is so similar to the word Sabbath. And because the original God of the Israelites was El, aka Saturn, that's why the Sabbath also represents the god Saturn. And that's why the word Saturn in Hebrew is the same as Sabbath and seven and Saturday. And Saturday is also Shabbat. So Saturday and Sabbath mean exactly the same thing. Yes, Sabbath and Saturday, Saturn's day, the day of Saturn, means exactly the same thing. Same word. All right, so tied to the seventh day. These share a root linking rest and the number seven. Sanchuniathon. How many of you guys know who Sanchuniathon is? Okay, he's an ancient Phoenician historian. All right, probably lived before 1000 BC. Supposedly, I'm not really sure. Nobody's really sure, but very ancient. Sanchuniathon, a Phoenician historian, equated El with Kronos, a Greek titan. So, yes, the original god of the Israelites, El, is Saturn, a Greek titan. He had a son named Zeus. Remember, El ate all of his children, or Saturn, Cronus, ate all his children. A Greek titan, and described Elohim as divine being serving El. Right, when you read the Phoenician historian Sanchuni Athon, he mentions the Elohim by name. He calls them the Elohim. I've made a video on it already showing you. But people want to keep denying this. Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning, the Elohim created the heavens and the earth. It says right here, the Elohim, there are divine beings that serve El. All right, so the Elohim is the pantheon of gods. And it's the same thing as the Greek pantheon, the Roman pantheon, and the Phoenician pantheon. It's all the same. Do they have differences? Of course. They live miles apart from each other. They even spoke different languages. That's what happens when you do not all live in the same area. You have your own unique perspectives. But pretty much, the essence of it all is all the same. All right, El, Saturn. His son is Zeus. All right, Zeus is Yahweh. His name is Yahweh in Latin, ancient Latin. Yahweh, Yahweh, same word, bro. Jehovah, that's Jupiter, bro. All right. He lives on a magical mountain. He has 12 tribes, 12 Olympians, punishes man for receiving knowledge, floods the earth. That's like exactly the same story. Maybe I just made that up. Maybe it's not the same. No, it is the same. Zeus is a sky god. Yahweh is a sky god, just like Yahweh is a sky god. Yahweh in the Bible punishes you. If you're being wicked, he will withhold the rain and he will cause a famine to come upon the earth and cause you all to starve to death. But if you are righteous and you obey his laws, he will give you plentiful rain and you will have a plentiful harvest. That's a storm god, bro. Literally a storm god. He that rises upon the wings of the wind, Psalms 104. There's a bunch of storm god scriptures. I'm about to ask Grok that. That's a good question. Write that down. I need a pencil. I should write this stuff. I'm going to forget it. Okay, but anyway, the Phoenician historian equated El with Cronus, a Greek titan, and described Elohim as divine beings serving El. Right, the Elohim, those are many gods. The Bible is polytheistic. Now, Grok will say it's henotheistic or monotheistic. No, you don't. Grok can only tell you what scholars say. And scholars are, man, I know more than scholars. I am literally like one of the top Bible experts in the world. That people think that sounds ridiculous. It's just true. I think it sounds ridiculous. It is ridiculous. That is actually a ridiculous proposition that I know more than these scholars. That's not saying anything about me. That's saying a lot about these scholars and how dumb they are. If you're going to let a dummy like me know more than you. Like, what is going on? I'm not that smart. All right, but I'm smarter than these guys. I know more than all these guys, bro. I mean, not all of them. Just most of them. All right, describe Elohim as divine being serving El. His humoristic view suggests gods were deified humans. Right. So Sanchuniathon, the Phoenician historian, if you read it, you can read it. It's all over the internet. Just type it in. I know a lot of you guys will never type it in. You'll watch the videos, but you watch scholars' videos on YouTube. You watch PhD videos, and they mention books, and you never look them up. You just watch the videos. Like, what is wrong with you? So I can't take a lot of people serious. All right. He suggests gods were deified humans. Right, so originally he would say Uranus or Uranus. That's one of the top gods. The top god in the Phoenician religion is the Lion. And I believe he was an actual man. He was deified. And I believe his son was Uranus. That's the same god. It's like the same as Greek myth, bro. If you read Sanchuniathon, he even mentions, I believe he mentions Athena. Or the Greek equivalent, or the Latin equivalent. Let me keep going. Yeah, because I think they use Latin names in Sanchuniathon, not the Greek names. You have to go read it, bro. It's like exactly the same as Greek mythology. It's like a little different, but it's the same. And that is literally the God of the Israelites. The Hebrew alphabet is the Phoenician alphabet. This is just facts, y'all. They worship the same God. Stop thinking that the God of the Bible is somehow different. Like, if it says El, it says El, bro. Now, did El turn into a generic word for God? Yes, that happened way later. Way later. Originally, that was Saturn. Elohim? Elohim is definitely a pantheon. No getting around that. And it's definitely plural. So stop playing games with me. All right, a Greek titan and described Elohim as divine beings serving El. All right, so he suggests gods were deified humans, with Phoenicians worshiping natural forces. While some cultural connections exist between Hebrew-Phoenician traditions, Hebrew monotheism, with Elohim often denoting a singular god. Makes sense out of that. How can a plural word be singular? But somebody would give you their old theological BS. No, bro. All right, that's bad grammar. You say Elohim being singular, that's bad grammar. That means you don't know how to write. Hebrew monotheism denoting singular, or whatever. Like this, I put down at the bottom. Jesus said, all that came before him were thieves and robbers. Jesus is Lord, not Yahweh. Okay? If anybody is him, is Jesus. Jesus is the Kyrios, Lord. That's a Greek word. All right, in the Old Testament, it says Yahweh. It says the Lord God over and over. When you see the words Lord God, you look it up in Greek. It says Kyrios, right? Well, the Kyrios in the New Testament is not Yahweh. It's Jesus Christ. It clearly says it. Like, I know how to read Greek. It's pretty clear. I didn't see Yahweh one time in the New Testament. They did try to Jew up parts of the New Testament to try to confuse you. But a lot of you guys, you don't want to, I don't care what you do. All right, let me go over here. I said I was going to ask Grok some questions. Oh, hold up. I did make a new song today, or yesterday. That's a really good song. It's called He Got the Mouth of a Woman. You're talking about the haters, people always running their mouth, talking like women on the internet, running their mouth. That's a really good song. Like, I make the best music. Not only am I like one of the top Bible experts on the planet, I'm probably one of the best singers and guitar players on the planet as well. But I try to keep that a secret, and I don't really tell people about it. So I try to, But every once in a while, I just have to mention it. What was I doing? Where's my damn Grok at? Oh, I'm dumb. Okay, I'm dumb. I've been using my desktop all day, and I got on the phone. The setup's a little different. All right, let me go up here. Let me ask Grok. Give me all the scriptures. Oh man, I can't type. Give me all the scriptures. How should I frame this? That might suggest that Yahweh, and never use a capital Y when you spell Yahweh. Always lowercase. Give me all the scriptures that might suggest that Yahweh is a storm god. Storm god. Also, list scholars who have suggested such. Okay, Grok is really smart. He'll figure it out because it's actually just in. I think it's like a Hindu or something on the other end of this thing. He can type really fast. Okay, the originally draws from biblical texts that depict him with imagery associated with storms, thunder, lightning, and other meteorological phenomena. Really? He rides upon the wings of the winds. He's going to hit you with a tempest. There's like innumerable scriptures on that. Scripture suggesting Yahweh is a storm god. I'm not going to read all of this. Okay, so Psalms 18. The earth trembled and quaked, and the foundations of the mountains shook. They trembled because he was angry. Smoke rose from his... I see some people read this to say Yahweh's a dragon. People say Yahweh's a dragon. He's a monster. He's a demon. Maybe. I heard somebody say Yahweh's... they say he's a dragon. He likes to eat children. And they'll say he's an actual real being. He's an alien. Because Yahweh is so crazy, and he's so murderous, and he's so genocidal, he's so psychopathic, and he's so insane that people come up with these crazy theories to try to explain it. He's definitely not the father of Jesus. No way. This is the devil. Like, the Satanic Bible is the Old Testament. Yeah, that's the Satanic Bible. Why do the Jews worship Satan, y'all? I mean, it's not hard to figure out. All right, so some people say that means he's a dragon. He made darkness as covering his canopy around him. The dark rain clouds of the sky. Oh, here's one. The Lord thundered from heaven. The voice of the Most High resounded. He shot his arrows and scattered the enemies. Arrows like the lightning bolts, right? Or, the gods are riding in chariots in the sky. Oh, that's talking about the UFOs. It's not talking about UFOs, guys. You have a thing in the ancient world called storm gods. Or maybe these storm gods like Zeus, Baal, Thor. You can name all the storm gods. Baal. I'm missing a bunch of them. Yahweh, Yahweh, whatever, bro. Maybe all these storm gods. Maybe that was based. Well, Sanchuniathon says it's based on an actual person. So it's not even a real god. It's just made up. But let's say it was based on an encounter they had with some UFOs. Or maybe they really seen God come out the sky in a UFO and came down. And I don't think that really happened. I really think it's myth. But no. Chariots of the God. Actually, I just found a copy of the Chariots of the God. I got a first printing at my house. It's not even worth that much, but I did find a copy of it. I'm about to go read it again. The Lord thundered from heaven. The voice of the Most High resounded. He shot his arrow, scattered the enemy. With great bolts of lightning, he routed them. Yeah, he shoot lightning bolts. Now, people would say, that's the dragon, or that's the UFO. To me, I just see a storm god. I see Zeus. All right, okay. Now, some people would say Zeus and all these guys, the Anunnaki, that they're actually aliens. They're actually immortal beings who have access to the tree of life. And they're preventing us from getting the tree of life. I'm aware. I'm just letting you guys know I'm aware of all this shit, bro. Okay? I'm aware of all the different theories. But for now, I'm just going to say Yahweh does not exist. It's made up. Storm imagery. The passage describes Yahweh with a vivid storm-related imagery. Trembling earth, dark clouds, lightning, thunder, hailstones, and wind. The phrase, voice of the Most High, Qual Elion, is often linked to thunder, a common trait of storm gods like Baal and Canaanite mythology. The imagery of riding cherubim clouds mirrors descriptions of storm deities in ancient Near Eastern texts. Right. Go get you a good Assyriologist. Somebody who's an expert in ancient, Syrian archaeology, myths, ancient Sumeria, ancient Akkadian myths. Get somebody who's an expert in that. And they'll tell you that Yahweh is a storm god. It's obvious, because the myths are so similar. They're the same. Nearly the same. A lot of the stuff from the book of Genesis draws heavy from, the ancient Near East. All right. Text. The voice of the Lord is over the waters. God of glory thunders. The Lord thunders over the mighty waters. Right. Because, to the primitive man, he would look up in the clouds. He would see the thunder and the lightning. He'd be like, oh, that's God. Now, well, actually, maybe that is God. You can say anything where there's light. God is in all things, right? So God would be in the clouds. His spirit is on everything, right? But no, there's not an actual storm god up in the sky making a crackle. We know how that stuff is produced, okay? We can generate, we know how to make clouds now. So we're gods. So now I'm a storm god. How you like that, bro? We're actually more powerful than Yahweh now. Okay, the Air Force, with their fucking fighter jets, they're more powerful than Yahweh. All he had was some clouds and lightning. They could shoot a nuke at him. But Yahweh doesn't exist. It's a myth. The voice of the Lord shakes the desert. Unless Yahweh's an alien. But he's definitely evil. Whatever Yahweh is, don't get it twisted. I don't worship him. I will never worship him. He is the evil God of the Jews. He's a murderer from the beginning. And he's a liar. And he's the devil. He's Beelzebub. He is Mammon. And I don't like him. He can go fuck himself. How about that? Storm imagery. The Psalms explicitly equates Yahweh's voice with thunder. All right. The breaking of cedars, lightning, and enthronement over the flood evoke the power of a storm god with parallels to Baal, who was a stormer. For Baal just means Lord. So when you see Baal in the Bible, it's just a different version of Yahweh. Because you had different cults. You had certain Yahweh cults that said Yahweh had a wife. But the Levitical priesthood, they never said that. They were against people with opposing beliefs. That's why Deuteronomy 12 chapter. Deuteronomy the 12th chapter says, if you see anybody who worships a different God or is doing anything different than us, burn their altars with fire. Okay, break their images, break their groves, destroy everything. That's evil, bro. So if you guys want to say you worship the God of the Old Testament, that means that you are commanded to go out and destroy, like say you're a Protestant. I guess you got to go destroy all the Catholics because you don't like Catholics. You got to go destroy anybody with a different religion than you. Anyone with a different religion than you, you have to destroy all their idols, all their altars, burn down their buildings. So you're not going to do that. But why? Because it's evil and it's crazy and it's insane. But that's what the God of the Old Testament commands, because he's crazy and he is insane. He's a psychopath, a lunatic. Okay, it's Satan, bro. The Old Testament is the Satanic Bible. Storm imagery. This ancient text considered one of the oldest in the Hebrew Bible. What's that, Psalms 104? What's this talking about? Storm imagery. Oh, that's Judges, the Song of Deborah. I just skipped right over that. Yeah, the Judges, the Song of Deborah. When you, Lord, went out from Seir, when you marched from the land of Edom. Yeah, but what about the Edomites? The Jews teach the Edomites are white people, and they all must be genocided. You know, Obadiah 18 says all Edomites must be genocided. Essentially, it says that. It says there shall be none remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh hath spoken it. And the black Hebrew Israelites, they learned basically everything they know from the Jews. I know this because I was with them for a while, and I figured it out. They just copycatted the Jews. It was the Jews who made up the thing of saying Edomites are white people. Jews made that up. When you hear people say white people are Edomites, white people are Esau, Jews made that up, and the black Israelites copied them. They're copycats. Copycats. Okay? Copycats. And that's evil. It is evil. When you march through the land of Edom, the earth shook, the heavens poured, the clouds poured down water, the mountains quaked before the Lord. Is that what the UFOs did too, guys? When the UFOs came, you know, people say Yahweh was an alien. Those clouds are UFOs. So he came to UFO. It had like rain coming out the bottom of the UFO. It looked like a strainer. You know, you get strain your noodles. I have a silver strainer at home. It's kind of shaped like a UFO. I can just picture a silver strainer flying through the sky with like water straining, like raining on us. That's Yahweh up there. An ancient text considered one of the oldest in the Hebrew. I just read that describes Yahweh's theophany, God, fan, with seismic and meteorological phenomena, shaking earth, pouring heavens, and quaking mountains. The imagery aligns with storm god motifs, particularly since Seir and Edom are southern regions associated with Yahweh's origins in some scholarly theories. The Lord came from Sinai and dawned over. I can't read all this, bro. Look at all these scriptures. I'm not reading all this. Okay. The myriads of holy ones in the heavenly host, akin to storm gods, entourage, and ancient Near Eastern myths. Right. You look at all these scriptures, bro. The blast of his nostrils. There's another dragon scripture. The blast of your nostrils, the ruach, which means wind or spirit, is interpreted as a powerful wind, a common storm god attribute. The control over waters and the warrior imagery parallel storm gods like Baal, the Egyptian Baal Seth, who combine meteorological and martial traits. Yes, Satan. Satan, bro. It's Satan, Yahweh, Satan. And Seth, that was the evil god of Egypt. And the Egyptians, I do believe Egyptians said that the Hyksos, they worshiped Seth. And everybody says the Hyksos were Semitic people, Israelites. Some people say they might have been Ammonites. I've heard people say that. But most of you whack jobs out there, you think the Hyksos are the Israelites. So I'll go with that. Okay, well, they worship Set, the evil god. That's the bad guy in Egypt. Okay? And that's the bad guy in the Bible, too. Okay? I like Egypt's mythology better than I like the Old Testament mythology. How y'all like that? Oh, you ain't see that one coming, did you? Okay? Seth is the devil. That's Satan. Or that's Yahweh, the god of the desert and the storms and the winds. It's the devil. Where did baptism come from? Circumcision, guys. Everybody wants to say Egypt is evil. The most advanced civilization in the ancient world is evil now. All right. So I like it's that simple anyway. Like, is America evil? I mean, does that even make such a broad sweeping statement like that? I mean, America's comprised of many different people. The government has done many bad things, but also has done many good things. We have brought freedom to the world. People don't want to believe that. Motherfucker, America brought goddamn human rights to the world. I've been reading history. I figured it out. Suddenly, in an instant, the Lord Almighty will come with thunder and earthquake and great noise of windstorm and tempest and the flames of a devouring fire. So he's a storm god. Psalm 68. Extol him who rides on the clouds. He's in his UFO or airplane, right? Or maybe he got the winged sandal. Oh, Athena had winged sandals. Maybe they really had winged sandals, bro. Man, I be reading those Greek myths too, man. That stuff's pretty badass. Athena just zipping around, flying with some winged. That's badass, bro. But I'm pretty sure it's just a myth, unless they were actual gods, immortal beings. But that sounds crazy. When you, God, went out before your people, the earth shook, the heavens poured down rain before God, the one of Sinai, whatever. Storm imagery, the phrase rides on the clouds. Hebrew, rawak, ravat, that's not even how you say it, as a direct parallel to Ugaritic epithets for Baal. Right. That's a Baal epithet, bro. That's a title for Baal. Yahweh and Baal is the same. I don't care, bro. You read it. Baal's not even the proper name for it. It means Lord. Even Yahweh's not even a proper name. Really? That's not even a name. He just said, I am who I am. Like, I'll be whoever I want to be. He didn't say, that's not an actual name. Baal and Yahweh is the same. Okay? They had different cults with different opposing views. The shaking the earth poured out. Right, the northern Israelites, who do they worship? The Bible says Baal. The kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom, it says they worship Baal. But they're Israelites just like the southern kingdom. I thought they was all the same people. They probably worship the same God. You know what? They just had different theological beliefs. And they had opposing views. Obviously, they all worship the same God. Storm imagery. The passage links Yahweh to the southern regions. Right, because the northern kingdom in Israel, the northern kingdom of Israel, you know, they would say Yahweh has a wife. That's what they would say. Not the homos in the south. I'm not saying God has a wife. I don't believe in none of that shit. That's all mythology. I believe in the real God, the unknowable. All right? Because God ain't never talked to nobody, never showed himself to nobody. Obviously. The passage links, whatever. Praise the Lord, that's Psalms 104. That's based upon the, Psalms 104 is very similar to the hymn of Akhenaten, an Egyptian pharaoh. Like, the Bible is so original. Okay, Yahweh is so original. He is so unique. There's not any motherfucking thing unique about him. He makes the clouds his chariot and rides on the wings of the wind. Bro, that's Greek mythology. It's Near Eastern mythology. It's all the same. Yahweh is depicted as riding. He's a storm god. He'll punish you with the famine. He'll hold back the rain. If you do not obey him, he will hold back the rain. There will be a famine and you will starve to death. Print Matthew 5:45. Matthew 5, he gave me the NIV. That you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes the sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. Look, that does not line up with Yahweh, the God of the Old Testament. No, he'll tell you that he'll punish you with the famine. The Israelites were punished with the famine. I'm going to ask Grok, did Yahweh punish Israelites with famine? Yahweh. Damn it. Zizrael, I am not good at typing on these phones. Damn it. I am struggling. Yes, according to the Hebrew Bible, Yahweh is depicted as punishing Israel with famine in several instances, often as consequence of disobedience, idolatry, or failure to follow the covenant. These accounts are rooted in the theological perspective of the biblical text, where natural disasters like famine are presented as divine judgments. Let me go back up here. Matthew 5:45. That you may be the children of your Father in heaven. Okay, the Father in heaven. I mean, it's not talking about the clouds. It's talking about the real Father in the real heaven. Okay, it's not talking about Zeus. It's not talking about Yahweh or Jupiter. The real God. The God that ain't nobody seen before. That God. Okay? That you may... He dwells inside of you, not in a temple, not in a sacrifice, all right, not in some weird ritual. You don't have to do weird rituals and keep weird holidays and all this weirdo religious shit, bro. God never told God never told nobody nothing. He speaks to you in the spirit that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causeth his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. So how's that the same God? Y'all better stop playing with me. Yo, you better stop playing with me, buddy. All right, I'm done playing your games. These accounts are whatever, bro. Scriptures, you can read all these scriptures. That's too much information, Grok. Grok is too much. I can't bear all this information. And all this information proves me right. And I refuse to read it all because this is just too much information and it's just too much proof. It's overwhelming proof that the God of Jesus is not Yahweh. The God of Jesus is not the God of the Old Testament. Look, I'll do it for you. You can ask Grok the same question. Look. You can read it. You can pause it if you really care that much. Huh? You see? Connection to Yahweh is a storm god. The storm god hypothesis, as discussed previously, posits, Grok be choosing weird words. Yahweh was characterized in the earth. I'm not reading all of that. He's a storm god. Look, scholarly context. All right? The scholars are of the devil. You know what? I'm actually gonna have to agree with Christians on that. Scholars are of the devil. I might have to agree with you guys on that one, but for different reasons. They're of the devil. No, because they refuse to say certain shit because they don't want to fuck up their career. That's why.